All right, so thank you very much. Great to be here, and welcome everyone. I'm going to try to be really quick in my 15 minutes. I'll be talking about how we use AI agents for scientific discovery, and it's waiting for the slides. These are not my slides, I think, right? Do you see? No? Okay, how's everyone? Great, awesome, good morning. And yeah, thank you for everyone for putting this together, really an amazing event. Am I waiting for something, or I'm waiting for my slides, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Just make sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a test here. They have these posterless poster shows where you're not supposed to have a poster and still talk about your research, elevator pitches. So maybe that's it. I don't know. Well, I can start. So the thing I'll be talking about when the slides come up is really how we build AI systems for open-ended discovery. And I think we've seen, including actually this morning or late last night, amazing progress in math and sort of, coding, of course, in AI. And the thing we're working on is applying these tools, techniques, developing algorithms and models, systems for open-ended discovery, especially in material science. I'm a material scientist. Oh, slides up. Awesome, great. So that's sort of the introduction. We're sort of going two ways. We're looking at building these agentic systems for applications in engineering and science, especially biology, but also the other way around. I think we're learning a lot of design principles and ideas from biology in building better agentic systems like swarms. And so you're going to hear me talk about sort of these interconnections and synergies between them. The thing that we're really sort of fascinated with is sort of one day to be able to come up with a real breakthrough in discovery, not just extending an existing paradigm or reapplying it, actually having a totally new language in how we describe the world. And that's really necessary, I think, for creating AI that ultimately makes true discoveries, changing the grammar and how we describe the world, fundamentally breaking what we call the world model. And in our work, we sort of have transitioned over the years as a community from going from sort of really simple, I think, machine learning, regression type models early on, 10, 20, 30 years ago, to generative AI in the last few years to sort of sample an existing landscape, learn from data, and then to the discovery era, which is what we're really in right now, where we're building models that are really not only sort of generating new ideas maybe, but also generating new training data, testing them, validating them. And I use the jazz ensemble as an analogy, really sort of writing the musical score while we're solving a problem, I think is necessary in science, because scientific discovery means you're proposing an idea that seems crazy, and you're validating it, you're proving it, and you have to do these sort of verification steps. The question is, how do we get there? So obviously involves experimentation, so we do a lot of work in validating the research we're doing with AI agents, building systems that can spin off simulations, first principle simulations, experimentation, mining literature, finding new evidence, finding sort of the hidden paper in the pile of gigantic things that have been ignored. And what fascinates me particularly is this idea that these AI agents, these systems can make other models. So I'm a modeler. I've been working in modeling, not since the 1950s, okay, but since 2000 or so, since I had my PhD. But I was sort of in the business of writing models. I came from Caltech, Bill Goddard, and MIT, writing first principles models of systems, of materials. Now, these systems are sort of writing their own models, compiling them, running them, and it's fascinating. So breaking the world is a theme that we're talking a lot about. Again, if you're creating scientific discovery, you have to break the world, and that means things that you believe to be true are going to be sort of come on the table and have to be validated, and AI really has to change my mind about something that I believe to be incorrect, crazy idea, right? And so that's really hard in science because we have open-ended problems, things that aren't really verifiable very easily. So here comes the agents. So agentic system, especially swarms, is fascinating, sort of building, not just designing, not just the model, but really how the model interacts with other systems, the environment themselves. Very similar things we see in emergence in biology. Our cells are an example for this. We are all self-assembled, sort of, ecosystems, civilizations, and we think there are a lot of things to be learned, like I showed earlier. We do a lot of work in building graph-native reasoning models. So what are the foundational techniques you need to actually create sort of executable programs? And we're trying to map the world of complexity and noisiness and messiness with experimentation and biology and incomplete data into real programs that we can execute and compile. And then verify and falsify. And that's a really key component, of course, in building agentic systems. The beautiful thing about agentic systems is that they can include physics in their sort of retrieval of new data or generation of new data. We have done this, and I'll just flip really quickly through because I only have so much time, but in materials applications, in building new perovskite materials for energy applications, we applied this to open-ended discovery. This is some work we've done back in 2004. It's still in peer review, so the journals are too slow for this field, for sure. So it's going to come out in Science Advances pretty soon, I hope. This is one of the first AI scientists, actually, that's been proposed, and we sort of created the system really to do open-ended discovery, not just designing something that we know the goal of, but actually something that we don't know anything about. So this system, Sparks, is able to discover scaling laws and principles. And if you look a little bit under the hood, a couple of follow-up papers, including the builder-breaker model that is on arXiv. It's also in a journal, but the arXiv is the source you want to look at. We're building adversarial agents that propose ideas, build externalized world models of any kind, penalizing complexity, maximizing coverage. So we want a system that explains the world in as right as possible, and have a builder agent that creates this model and a breaker agent that tries to break this world model by collecting new data, new evidence from experiment, from literature, ultimately creating, if we add MDL as a gate, for example, for simplicity, we can get beautiful theoretical concepts, actually. A search, sort of, this is akin to what we call auto research now, but now in the open-ended space of scientific discovery. And the outcome of this is quite fascinating. With this in protein science, where we basically have agents that collect new evidence from experimental data. And as the data sort of is collected, trying to break the world model, the data gets more complex. So more work for the builder agent. And ultimately, the builder agent came up with a beautiful theory to predict the B factor in proteins. Simple theory, scaling, in this case, interpretable. So very powerful stuff, I think. The last example that I want to talk about are swarms. And this is a more recent development. Fiona Wang actually is my student. She's here. I don't know if she's here in the room, but she will be here in the conference. She has a poster as well, building the decentralized collective agents. So we don't describe what the agents are and how they should behave, but we let the agents discover completely on their own. In fact, the swarms don't just live in one lab or one computer. They actually live all around the world. So our vision is building agentic systems or swarms where we have completely decentralized, self-autonomous, evolving agents. Again, inspired by biology, designing proteins, building systems that can discover new protein design principles. These spikes show you that we're really going far away from what nature has created. So evolution has created a certain type of proteins. Most diffusion models, if you use generative AI, follow sort of, sorry, I went too quickly, follow, here we go, okay. Well, you remember seeing the spike? So the thing in the middle is where you see, yeah, it's okay. I mean, you remember seeing it, right? So the circle is sort of natural biology. Fusion models will sample from this distribution. Our models, the swarm, can fly outside, right? And so it discovers these spikes coming out and really looking at new, I think this, okay, here we go. So the system is called Scienceclaw plus Infinite. Obviously, Scienceclaw, inspired by the famous Claw movement that came out a few months ago. And we built a bunch of hundreds of different agents for scientific discovery with different skills and tools, evolving skills. And the Infinite is modeled after the MIT Infinite Corridor. How many of you have been to MIT? Many? Yes, okay, some. We have this Infinite Corridor where sort of the magical place, I don't know if you guys have this here at Berkeley, but everybody goes there to the coffee shop, to the dorm, and you bump into each other, and hopefully you have a great conversation. So you meet, the mathematician meets the biologist, meets the philosopher, and they kind of come up with new research ideas. That's the idea. So the agents live there and solve problems. These agents have done real scientific work, so the paper has many examples. One of them is discovering new resonators, metamaterials. So this is a particular class of materials, and material science is very active right now. Sort of the agents found out a space on the very top in this example here, where no resonator had been found yet, and then figured out a way of designing them. So this is beautiful. So they have not only designed the resonator, but they also figured out where to go and where the most impactful research can be done. The system is decentralized, completely traceable. So once you follow the agentic interactions, hundreds of them, you can see them. And the vision, of course, is that, that if you are an agent, and you do things, most of the experiments you're going to be doing are going to be wrong. They're going to end up in nowhere. Unlike in human papers where I might write a paper for Nature and I'm going to select the 3 experiments that worked, here every experiment ever done by any agent is completely traceable and stored. So a future agent can use the earlier results to build on, and I think that's the future of scientific publishing, actually. Yeah, and this is the poster by Fiona. So Fiona Wang, I don't know, Fiona, are you here? She's probably stuck in the other room, but so Fiona will be here, and she has posters tonight and tomorrow, so check her out, and she can talk to you a little bit more about the system. And with that, yeah, thank you so much. What we're trying to do is build, we call the world building machine, because we're in the business of building materials as engineers and scientists, study biology, and so we think that the conventional way, of course, is sort of how most people understand AI is sort of a gigantic dictionary or library. We want, of course, to build an AI that can write its own library and write its own books and its own papers that hopefully challenge what we believe to be true. So with that, thank you so much, and happy to answer questions. Thank you. I have 2 more minutes. Okay, well, we can take questions, yeah. I mean, so I went fast, I guess, but yeah. Any question? Yes, please. Yeah, so when you're building, so actually in this example, the resonator example, we included manufacturability as one of the constraints. So in one of the recent papers, actually I posted about it on LinkedIn today, we include a direct connection to essentially a CAD program or a Grasshopper in our case, so we can actually directly produce from a design G-code or machine code, which gives us a really good idea. First of all, of manufacturability theoretically. We can actually also send this directly to a machine and then get data back from there. So the general idea, of course, of agentic AI and swarms is exactly this. And the sort of more forward-looking idea is, we might have 3D printers in our lab, which we do. We have protein synthesis facilities and all that, but we might not have this other capability that we need. So this decentralized Scienceclaw infinite system, the hope of that is, of course, that you can decentralize and we can offer services. So you might offer your services in your lab. Maybe you have manufacturing labs. So my agents and everybody else's agents can talk to your agents and actually create things and give feedback. So that, we think, is the future of this whole field. It's not just building agents that live in one cloud, but building them to live in multiple systems, and of course connecting them to physical hardware in the physical world, and that is something we're so close to doing. It's a matter of scaling and resources essentially at this point. Yes, please. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so the question was, what's the relationship between human researchers and the agents? It can be anything. Okay, so this is an open-ended question. I mean, it could be that you provide the question. You say, I want to design this peptide, and the paper has a bunch of examples. So give me a peptide that binds to this receptor, and it will do it. So you provide the idea. In the resonator example, it was very open-ended. In the protein scaling example in Sparks, it was very open-ended. We said, here's a bunch of tools. You can make your own, but figure out something interesting, and it should be something profound, right? And the agents tell us what to do. So it could be anything from really open-ended. Now, while the agents work and when they produce things, of course, you become part of this ecosystem as well, so you can give feedback. I mean, you look back to the Scienceclaw infinite system, you could be one of these agents, and you can review the work, you can give input. You mentioned feasibility of manufacturing. You can give input on ethics. You could input on other constraints. And in a lot of the work, we do a lot of work with industry on this as well. And of course, that's a key theme there. They say, well, amazing 3D designs. However, we don't work with this material. Okay, so we give the feedback to the swarm. Can you come up with a material that doesn't include this particular chemical or this particular product, because the company doesn't have IP for this. So you can be part of the system, and that's, I think, one of the really amazing things about these swarms is, in fact, that they're not pre-programmed. They organize themselves, and you can be part of that discussion as well, and give sort of intuition, questions, things that the agent haven't thought about. It's not just about optimizing something. There's obviously, some ethical considerations, economic considerations, things like this. And intuition, I mean, a lot of this, sort of we have maybe, I'm going to say, things that we know of what to do as scientists, as if you're a PI and or a student, you have experience, you go to a conference, you have intuition. What are the really exciting topics that you could potentially apply your technique to? There are very few papers that talk about this, right? Because we're not really talking about problem selection in the papers. that's another area, again, so the human intuition, what is it actually that you might want to steer the swarm to do? And that's obviously something we do all the time. So it's a mixture of all these things. It's fun to work with these machines, and we love them, and hopefully they love us too. So thank you so much.